This conference will now be recorded.
Here.
Ms. Francois
Here.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
All right. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic where it stands, and then under God,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all. All right. The chairperson's statement. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 231 New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the giving of notice to the Courier News, posting the agenda in the public lobby of this building 48 hours prior to this meeting. Delivery of this notice to the Franklin Township Clerk at least 48 hours prior to this meeting, and mailing notice to those persons properly requesting to be mailed notification of meetings at least 48 hours prior to this meeting.
The minutes will reflect that Commissioner Ford has joined us at 6:40 p.m.
Hi, Teresa.
hello.
Very good. Next is motion to open meeting for public comments. Can I have a motion?
Motion,
Any second?
Ford,
Second, Schmidt.
Motion and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Ayes have it. The meeting is open for any public comments. Anyone from the public on hand? I don't see anybody.
Franklin Reporter and Advocate is on.
Okay. Seeing no one from the public, may I have a motion to close the public section, please?
Motion.
Second, to close the meeting?
Ron, did you ask the Franklin
Second,
Advocate
Ford,
if they wanted to say anything?
They typically are reporters. They don't speak on behalf of the public. Bill?
I'm good, thank you. I would
All
take
right,
I would take issue with your assertion we don't speak on behalf of the public, but I'm good, thank you.
I'm sorry. That's not how I intended to come across.
Well, I would contest whether he's good, but that's another story also.
All right. All in favor of ending the public portion of the meeting, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. All right. So we end the public session of the meeting. And next on the agenda is the approval of minutes.
Ron, did we skip the chairperson's report?
That's a statement. It's not a report.
Okay, chairperson's statement. Did we skip that?
No, I read it.
Oh. I missed it.
That was fast.
Okay, you're good.
Remember, Arnie, I read that at the beginning of one of these meetings one time. So this time I held off until the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes of the working session monthly board meeting of November 3rd, 2021?
I'll make a motion, the November 3rd minutes.
Thank you. Anyone seconding?
Second, Ford.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, motion passed without any no's. The next, I believe there's a call for an executive session, which is closed. Somebody can make a motion to open the executive session.
Now, pardon my interruption. It's for the approval, the review and the approval of the executive session minutes from November 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is the approval of minutes column. I'm
Yes.
sorry, my bad.
Not to, Councilman Farrison, not to be confused, later in the meeting, I am going to ask to go into executive session.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Joe. All right. Let's reset. Executive closed session minutes of November 3rd meeting. We all had a chance to review it. If so, can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion, Jesus.
Anyone seconding?
Second, Ford.
Motion and seconded. All in favor of approving the executive session minutes, say aye.
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 Any abstention? Nays?
I'll abstain.
Okay. All right. Ayes have it. So the meeting minutes of the executive session of November 3rd are approved as presented. Next on the agenda is the executive summary, professional reports by the executive director. Joe, you are on mute.
Thank you, Councilman. Good evening, everyone. So under legal, Brookline Avenue, the vacant lot, we did make a counter proposal for the sale of that lot. We'll talk about that later, and we're going to ask for a vote on that. Under legal, the New Brunswick agreement with the authority, we did send the city a proposal, and they responded with a counter proposal, and our staff and vendors are currently in the process of reviewing that. I put under here executive session minutes. If you recall, the board had a special meeting in August that I was not in attendance of. We're still waiting for those executive session minutes from August. Mr. Bernstein has assured me that they will be coming by the end of this month. And under legal, they continue to monitor any correspondence we received from the IRS regarding that issue we had last year. The Marcy Street project, this is the rehabilitation of all the sewer lines in the Marcy Street neighborhood. I do want to report to the board that one of the line items in that project have far exceeded the budget line item, and that is the expense we pay to the police. This is going to be a more ongoing conversation because we really need to look at what we're spending, and that's in hundreds of thousands of dollars relative to what we're getting in return or the need for any of those police services. So being a good steward of the public money, I find myself in no other position but to question the hundreds of thousands of dollars we're on schedule to be paying. But this budget line item is far exceeded and probably will go to the point of 200% of what was anticipated. Regarding the work that's there, of the lateral connections, those are the pipes that go from the center of the street to the curb line. 99% of them have been completed. And the engineer has been asked to get from the contractor 2-week look-ahead schedule so we can more effectively supervise and anticipate the contractor's work. Hamilton Street, the closeout date by the iBank is being delayed. We did have a meeting today with Leah Peterson and John Nothi from the iBank. They're giving us basically proposed closing dates to convert our short-term to a long-term bond loan, and the deadline date as well. Hopefully this will be all closed out in the near future and I could take this project off the board. East Millstone Pump Station rehabilitation. This is moving forward slowly. I want to stress slowly, unavoidable that pace. Engineer did have a meeting with the PSC&G last week. The prefab building has been approved by the engineers and is it is on order. If you recall, last month we had some problems with the prefab building, but we've gotten past that. The contractor does hope to start work and breaking ground mid-December, early January. The high bay garage that has been redesigned from the initial scope. The building will be provided through a company called Blue Scope, which is a member of the purchasing co-op that we're allowed to purchase from. So what we're working on currently with that project is the CDM engineer has asked us or advised us that we need to get a full formal lot survey of our property here at 70 Commerce Drive, mostly to confirm and determine what utilities are below the ground so we could benefit from that knowledge before we begin that project. Next steps are in the report. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but that project's moving forward smoothly. Somerset Street Pump Station rehabilitation. CDM's amended final proposal, I did approve. I have not received it yet. I'm sure they'll be sending it to me shortly. They were very minute changes I made to it. And the board had previously authorized me to finalize that proposal. We are waiting for and expect in the very near future the full and final drawings and design docs from the engineer so that the authority staff can review them. The Brookline Avenue sewer rehabilitation. We do have a significant delay from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. That delay is continuing. We're at the point now that we're literally going to have to start using other avenues of getting their attention and getting them to move. It's been many months that they're sitting on this, and they assured us at the beginning, they assured us last year that, earlier in the year, that this would be a high priority project for them. And now it seems they've almost forgotten about us altogether. So I'm keeping this project categorized as green, but between now and next month, I may have to downgrade this to yellow until we fix the problem with DEP. The Weston Canal Force Main Emergency Rehab Phase 2 has been completed. The Weston Canal Pump Station flood emergency repair, that's also been completed. Phase 3 was Wessex Canal Force Main Emergency Rehab. Phase 3 is basically completed, with the small exception of the receiving and the installation of the flow meter and the chamber well installation. So the Wessex Canal Pump Station Phase 4 is going smoothly. We're in the very beginning steps of this phase, and this is the full rebuilding and redesigning of the pump station. We did have meetings to discuss the options. Some of the main options involved are looking at relocating this pump station altogether on properties and lots nearby. We did get our engineers in direct contact with PSE&G. Mike McClellan, do you want to jump in? Is there anything significant from your conversations with PSE&G on the matter?
Yes, Director. We're pleased to report that initial discussions with PSE&G were favorable. We have proposed that we occupy a piece of their property along the roadway with an easement, and have reviewed that with the board attorney and the director, and we believe that they seem agreeable to it. We are preparing a set of drawings so that they can see the approximate location of the property we'd like to acquire, and hopefully get a positive response from them, in which case we'll turn it over to your attorney for further discussions and acquisition. This particular piece of property, there were two options. This is the better one of the two, and works from the schematic piping layout much better. We plan on being into the authority on Thursday this week with a schematic of both locations and show why this one is the better one. And hopefully we'll have some more information from the PSE&G. But so far we met with positive responses. Since it really only is an easement, we're not looking to acquire their property. The place we want to put the pumping station is a wooded section along their sideline, which is probably in their setback anyway. And we feel that we got positive feedback from them.
So just jogging memory, this is the property that would be insurable in the traditional sense, correct, Mike?
Our understanding is that your insurance company will fund it because we recommended you move the pumping station out of the floodplain, and this property is not in the floodplain. Now,
Okay.
Ron, one of the things we have to do is we have to take elevations to make sure we're all running on conceptual drawings now. But if it's not out of the floodplain, we will make sure it's high enough above the floodplain so there's no chance of water getting in this. We don't want Mr. Nassaro to ever have to deal with this again in the rest of his career or ours. So
yeah, let's say
either way, we're going to recommend you raise the first floor up, because the way that the predictions are with the flooding that's occurring, what's a 100-year floodplain today, 20 years down the road could be different, as you know, Ron.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mike. The Commerce Drive pump station planning meeting was held with engineer and our staff. The engineer did come up with 3 options for the Commerce Drive pump station. Those options range in cost between $1.2 million and $750,000. CME is recommending the least expensive option of $750,000, but staff has yet to review and opine over that report. We will be presenting what we all agree on at the next meeting with, and probably with a request for a vote for authorization. Okay, our COVID-19 community testing. So we did contract with a vendor that took samples of our sewer system and analyzed them for the purposes of detecting and quantifying COVID-19 virus. So they did that. They sent us results. I looked over those spreadsheets. It's interesting, but I wasn't fully comfortable with my understanding of what those results meant. We tried setting up a meeting today over the telephone for them to walk through the results with me so I understand what all those numbers mean, but we were unable to. But one thing that the results did show is they were in fact able to detect the COVID virus within the sewer system. And Christian, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If I understand those numbers correctly, the largest detection I saw was from the manholes near the high school.
I think that was a peak area, the high school, definitely. I believe, top of my head, near Rodney, there was also a peak too. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if we continue this is exciting technology and approach. I'm going to, assuming my conversation with this laboratory continues to further excite me, I would like to contract with them. I possibly would like to contract with them again to continue this sort of sampling and analysis. If we get to a certain point where we're detecting the virus early on, we could probably partner with the county Department of Health, the state Department of Health, for all sorts of things, community messaging, flyers, possibly even move testing or vaccination sites near these areas. There's a whole bunch of things that we could do in partnership with other agencies. So we'll see. Unfortunately, Christian and I are not in a position to report true data to the board at this time, but we're working in that direction. Okay, the windows and door replacement, CME submitted a proposal. I believe we need to vote on that proposal for their services tonight. The budget line item and the capital budget needs to be adjusted. This item's been in the budget for several years, at least 3 years, and it's always had this number of $100,000. And that number was put in there it was just a guess. So we now have a number that we could use that was given to us by the engineer, and that number is $350,000. That's not in house. So, Mike, what exactly do we need to vote on tonight for the windows and doors? To authorize your services?
Yeah, that's correct. As you know, we did meet with an architect. We had meeting with staff. The architect was helpful in terms of giving us a rough order of magnitude cost, which you just reported on, and also advising that he's aware of a co-op, which may be something the authority wants to consider, which will be ferreted out during the design. But right now, what he's waiting for is authorization from us to proceed. We did provide a scope of services and our proposal to the authority, and subject to your authorization, we would authorize him to proceed tomorrow. He's ready and raring to go.
Okay. April, is that resolution on our list?
Yes, it's resolution -7 for tonight.
All right. Thank you, April.
You're welcome.
Okay. Below that is the Brookline vacant lot land acquisition easement. So we have good news. They made us an offer to buy it. I countered that offer and they accepted. So tonight I'm asking the board to vote to authorize us to execute and conclude that sale of that vacant lot. And then that easement issue goes away at the end of it.
Joe, I've added the resolution to tonight as well. It's number 9, I believe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian Hack I have one question. I sent an email. It was probably too late for you guys to respond. Do we need or should we conduct a title search before we give them more money?
I would suggest it, yeah, just in case, you're going to be acquiring it, you really should have a title search done. Yeah.
All right. Do we have to modify that contract to sale, or we just don't sign that sale until we do?
No, the contract to sale, though, I don't believe it's been seen by their attorney yet, so it might be subject to some minor modifications.
Okay, I asked this about the title search because I happen to know, someone told me that the seller acquired this through a sheriff's sale. And a lot of times properties are, otherwise encumbered.
Yeah, I think that just to be safe, certainly anytime you acquire property, you should do a title search anyway. So I would definitely recommend that, yes.
Okay, so Councilman Ambarrison, I guess when the board votes, I would say contingent upon not only successful title search, but the executive director satisfaction. Or the executive director and the attorney. I don't care what it is, but I want to put that on there.
Okay.
The purchase price, Brian, are we allowed to state it before we conclude the sale? How much?
Yeah, sure, you can. Because the price is already been negotiated. It's just some of the other terms of the contract may change because they haven't seen it yet, but the price is agreed upon.
Okay, so the price that we were able to get him at was at $69,000. So there's some profit for him, I'm assuming, and it's certainly a fair price. This is for new people. You should know that one of the sticky points here is the sewage authority years ago trenched along this private property, laid a force main pipe or gravity pipe through this private property without ever getting permission. And this is a critical pipe that cannot easily be moved. So we went through a process. I insisted that we get a land appraisal, which we did. And he wanted much, much more than that land appraisal. So we kind of came in the middle and landed on the number 69,000.
Good job there.
Thank you. So under general engineering projects, we did work on the New Brunswick agreement, which is got a lot of moving parts to it. New Brunswick has been working very well with us. Wasn't easy getting our proposal sent to them. They responded back within a week with their counter proposal, which we're reviewing. Our engineering and municipal staff and the authority staff did meet with a commercial corporation, a tofu factory, and we met with them and assured them that we will be at their service and part of their success. We hope that they move all their manufacturing production to Franklin Township, and we assured them that the sewage authority is on duty and very excited to help them in their transition here. And the last thing under the summary of professionals is the Weston Canal Road Pump Station, which has, phase 1, 2, 3, phase 4. I'm trying to get that so it's insurable under the JEF. And one of the things we need is a elevation certificate. So I authorized CME to go through that process to obtain an elevation certificate. Our current location will never satisfy the flood insurance. I confirm that. Even if we lift it up, they're not going to insure it. You know, even if we lift the building up above the flood level, it's all about the location with them. So in order for us to go seek flood insurance, they're all going to require us to have an elevation certificate. So might as well start that process now. That concludes my executive project status summary report. I would like to ask, excuse me 1 second. I'd like to ask, so the next item on the agenda, Councilman, is the executive director summary.
Yep.
May I just move into that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and then after that, I'll ask my operations manager to go through his report. So for the month of November, we received in checks that were deposited $1,587,079.84. Year to date, we have collected $6,148,107.39. I'm going to remark at this point that our revenue is perfectly on track as we anticipated in our budget. We have an opening balance due from our ratepayers of $1,173,997.72. Penalties for the month of November are $13,718.54. Regarding penalties, that number is almost perfectly average of the year. Expenditures for the month of October, we had $349,749.01. Year to date expenditures is $5,058,316.27, which is perfectly on average for our expenditures as well. I'm going to also note here, never in the past were our expenditure reports really that accurate. It always looked like we were spending a lot less than what was budgeted, and that's because we were not paying Middlesex County Utilities Authority all that we should have, and then we would wait till the end of the year and give them a massive payment of charges that we were owed through the year. Last year, I changed that by taking our quarterly payments to them and making them a lot more accurate within a 5% range, so we don't have a large reconciliation payment to make. In addition to that, it allows us to give our monthly expenditure report to the board to be much more accurate. So on the expenditure report, if you look at it, all line items are within the half-year mark and are appropriately being expended as far as percentage-wise, with the exception of one line item, and that line item has to do completely with the emergency repairs that we went through for Storm Ida. Our cash position, under the category of unrestricted, we have $892,852.13. Under restricted, we have $12,670,647.87. And under designated, we have $6,150,357.18. We have a total cash position of $19,713,857.18. Under discussion items, our audit still has not been completed. It's not our fault. We're waiting for the auditor, and the auditor is waiting for the state to issue some sort of numbers that I don't fully understand, but we're waiting on the auditor is waiting on the state. We have a deadline, which I think we've already passed, a statutory deadline, but I think we get automatically excused by it if the state is not allowing us to complete it. Regarding the escrow monies we've been holding on to that we need to surrender to the state, Christian is reporting to me that the state has required us to wait another 90 days. If you recall, last month I reported that the state required us to send letters out to them yet again. And after sending that letter out again, to wait another 90 days. And it sounds like they're giving us excuses not to make them work as they should be, but they're not accepting our money yet. And it's really not our money, it's money that belongs to other people that we can't get a hold of. We have 0 connections for the month of November, not unusual. Under GIS, we are asking the municipality to share their GIS data with us. It would be helpful to Scott and our engineers and our contractors if we knew where the water and or the storm water is. Christian, help me remember what their response was to date.
Sure. So my contact at the township, his name is AT. He's the GIS specialist. So basically I requested the data from my contact, and his reply was he needs to talk to his higher ups just because he's not in control of distributing data. So that's kind of where things left off. So he's going to talk to his higher ups, and then hopefully the higher ups agree and send us the data. So
okay, thank you, Christian. Maybe our council people on the board can be the higher up and get that going.
I'll make a note of it. Yes.
GIS.
Is that the same platform? The data is interchangeable, so you can import the data from the township system to the sewerage system.
Mike McClellan can definitely answer that. Mike, is it interchangeable?
Yeah, it's the same database, same formula, same program, and there has been interface with the two before, so this could continue here easily.
Excellent. Okay, so we have 2 new staff members that have started recently. If you recall, the board authorized me to hire a little early. We have a staff member retiring early next year, and I was able to hire somebody prior to that. And this way we have overlap. We also delayed the hiring of the previous person that retired earlier this year. So what we had is 2 new people starting basically the same time. One was delayed, one was rushed, and we've been able to keep that, keep the continuity, business continuity going smoothly. And we had, a unique employment issue that we discussed in executive session, and everything seems to be going successfully. I'm happy to report the staffing has increased. Let me go down. Okay. All right. So under Southbound Brook, I had spoke with the mayor of Southbound Brook, who shared concerns regarding the undeveloped buildable area of our town that is serviced by the collection that goes to Southbound Brook. So I asked Christian to interface and partner with the municipal staff to identify the undeveloped buildable lots of that area, put them in 2 categories. One category would be undeveloped buildable connecting to the sewer system, and the other category would be undeveloped buildable not connected to the sewer system. And they would not connect to the sewer system because maybe they're too far away or they're on the wrong street. They determined that it's a very limited number of opportunities for people to build a house and connect to the system that would go to South Pound Brook. At some point in the near future, I will sit down with the mayor, hopefully over a cup of coffee, and explain to her that, her concerns are not realized and she could move forward to modernize and update the agreement with the authority and herself. Commercial opportunities, nothing to report. Okay. So I'm going to ask April to give some details on this. The JIF has asked us to update our employee handbook and our manual and our management book and so forth. April, can you jump in? You're the expert on here. And let me just say, April has offered and invested a tremendous amount of time into this project. And she was pressured by the JIF, tremendous pressure and time restraint, according to their requirements. It's almost not fair. But April not only stepped up to the plate, she exceeded the JIF's expectations, and she really beat the clock on this. April, explain to the board what the JIF is requiring and what we did.
Okay. Every 2 years, typically, the JIF will ask us to revisit our employee handbook and our management manual. This year, they have kind of delayed the process a little bit because it was a complete overhaul of both documents. And so we would have to then be compliant in order to stay insurable with them and meet all of the changes. So there's been a lot of laws changed, federal, local, different things like that. So what we have to do is take our old handbook and add all of these new things and replace them. They've provided us with a very nice checklist that we must be compliant with, and we have met all of those things. The only thing we have left to submit to them is the revisions of these documents. The checklist must be signed off by General Counsel, so we will be submitting those things over so that they can just be reviewed. These are all standard changes that everyone who's under the JIF must be compliant with, and so we will not be changing anything to our handbook. We will just be updating the information that they've provided.
Yeah. Well, when you say standard, it's standard for members of the JIF. It's not necessarily from the paradigm of an employee standard.
No. These are definitely standard.
They're very detailed. They're somewhat, I'm not going to say convoluted, but it's not easy reading.
No, it's very convoluted. You give them grace there. There was about, I would say, nearly 30 different changes to the manual. Some things were combined, some things were revisited, some things were tossed out. But we want to go ahead and adopt all the things that make us compliant with the JIF, but we don't want to lose our individual standpoint as the authority, where we have certain things that we want to keep whole, like our vacation practice, sick time, all those details. So the only thing we will be changing is the additions that they tell us that we must have complete.
Yeah, and I asked April to make an index of changes with page numbers. This way, if a board member or an employee wants to know what's different in their work life, they could go right to the changes and see what was there in the past and what's there new. Make it nice and easy and understandable as far as the changes are concerned.
We will be providing you with the new version of both the employee handbook and the management manual, but we will also give you the red line version, so you will see where we've deleted things and where we've added things. It'll be very clean cut, and a cover letter that shows why the JIF has made these changes and their explanation as to why they were no longer needed. So it'll be a very nice package.
What we need from the board tonight is for you to authorize me to finalize that with the JIF, because it needs to be finalized between now and the end of the year. It needs to be finalized before our next meeting. So with the understanding that, the executive director and the admin manager both are in agreement that we can finalize it. So April, do we have a resolution to that effect?
No, tonight we just wanted to go on record and get permission for us to go ahead and move forward with it with the review of the attorney, because in addition to this package, the JIF also requires that general counsel review the checklist and approves that these things have been done. This is very standard. I've worked through this with legal for the last 7 years, and every 2 years we do this. So it's very familiar to Eric Bernstein's firm, and he would also approve that these changes are consistent. It's done with all the municipalities and all the authorities that are under JIF.
So Brian, so it seems like we could just vote on, the board could just vote on that. Do we have to then vote on a resolution to memorialize it next month?
No, I don't think so. I think the board can just adopt a motion tonight to allow that to move forward. I don't think you have to memorialize it next month.
Okay.
Make a motion to move forward. Kimberly?
Okay.
Is that allowed? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a second.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Councilman Embarrasson, I think you're still muted.
Would you like
Sorry
a
about
roll
that.
call?
Yeah, a roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ambaranson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Motion
you,
passes.
Commissioners. All right, the last things on my report are the resolutions. And I just quickly explain the resolutions. The first group are standard, which is payroll, operating expenses, renewal and replacement expenses, North Track expenditures. Those are the standard resolutions you're voting on. You'll see most of them, but different combinations each month. That's just us doing normal business. The additional resolutions that you're voting on are as follows. The offer of employment to Gino Colella, the annual 2022 schedule of meetings, the authorization of CME services to handle the windows and doors, the authorization for the authority to purchase the electricity supply services, which is our auction that we attract suppliers to bid, lower our electric bill. And the final one is to authorize a purchase of the vacant lot on Brookline for $69,000, contingent upon a successful title search and the approval of the executive director. That concludes my portion of that. I'd like to ask our operations manager, Scott Nocero, to fly through his report.
Flying sounds good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Operations report for the month of November of 2021. Weston Canal Pump Station relative to Tropical Storm Ida damage and repairs. As Joe mentioned, everything is complete with the exception of the CTs on the exterior of the building. That is due in part that PSE&G needs to supply our contractor with the new CTs to be installed, and there is none to be had at this time. I have been in contact with PSE&G on a weekly basis. We're a high priority on the list for these parts once they come in, and we will schedule the work once they do arrive. Under Weston Canal Force Main Phase 3, all new piping from the building out, including valves and a new bypass connection, has been installed by our contractor. This was an exceptional job as the contractor had to dig 28 feet deep in the ground alongside the building. So it was really cool to see. Again, The project went well. All the new piping is up and in service. With that project, we are waiting for the delivery of the new flow meter to be installed with the access manhole for same. Once those materials arrive, we will schedule the contractor to come back and install those at that time. Minor restoration was done to our neighboring property, 1 Cottontail Lane, which is a pharmaceutical property. We had to make access for a bypass connection, which meant we had to cross their driveway underground. We did do temporary paving for the winter months so that they can snow plow and for safety purposes. We also did some temporary base paving in our parking lot, again, for snow removal for the winter in case the flow meter does not arrive in time, as well as safety for our guys that check the station every day. No order for the month under our gravity sewer flushing program. The guys flushed and cleaned over 40,000 feet of gravity sewer. Current estimate from March of 2021 to present of our overall goal is 27%. As Marcy Street project, Joe had mentioned, 2 laterals remaining to be installed. The contractor, I believe, is scheduling that work. Second cutting of all easements along through the township have been completed for the year of 2021. There were no accidents or injuries for the month of November. As Joe reported, 0 connections for the month. Total to date is 88. Anticipated for our fiscal year is 187. I hope that was quick enough.
It is.
Thank you, Scott. Chairman, I just want to add something to the COVID monitoring and sampling that we did here in Franklin Township. Howard Matson forwarded me an article from Boston where Boston's been doing this sort of approach to COVID tracking, and they're actually able to detect spikes in their system at precisely this time of year, and they are making decision-making changes based upon what they're seeing. There's some things that they don't know about the results, why the results are spiking. They don't know if it's holiday driven or Omicron driven, but what they do know is it's present. They do know when it's spiking, and based upon where you collect those, samples could tell you who the people are, which is why we went to certain neighborhoods. We went to the high school, those certain areas of the town, and we basically took an educated guess. So I'm even more hopeful now because Boston is in part relying on this data, and they've been doing it from day one. So, that's it.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is committee reports, negotiations and personnel committee. I don't believe the committee met, so there's no report. Municipal liaison report. I think the only issue that came up that I had already spoken with the operations director, manager, about some of the rework that had to be done, and I believe he is already on top of that. This is in reference to the paving, right, Scott? We spoke about repaving the dug up areas where some of the township folks pointed that to you, and then you went back to the contractors to redo some of that research.
Yeah, that was the Marcy Street. Yes, there was some areas that had settled that needed to be corrected, and that was addressed.
Yeah, and then ensuring that in the future that doesn't happen, so they don't have to be called twice.
Correct.
Construction committee. Is there any report from the construction committee?
No report.
All right, thank you. How about Safety Committee?
I will just extend another invitation to the construction committee when we have an update meeting for a couple of these projects like Weston Canal and the Commerce Street will be significant projects and should prove to be interesting. So if anyone is interested in all, in addition to the construction committee, I'll send out an invitation to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the committee reports. And then the next item on the agenda is the approval of the resolutions. This would be by consent agenda. All of the items listed below are considered to be of a routine nature, thereby requiring one motion and 1 second for all items. If any member wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda, please advise at this time which resolutions need to be handled separately, and they will be addressed and voted on separately. Resolution number 1207-2021-1, payroll account of $163,607.48. Resolution number 1207-2021-2, operating expense account $176,000, $413.80. Resolution number 1207-2021-3, renewal and replacement of $500,121.67. Resolution number 1207-2021-4, North Track Crossing, $58,725.05. Let me go to the next page. Oh, that's all the consent items. This is a roll call, right? You're in mute. April, you're muted.
Yeah, we need a motion and a second and then roll call.
Oh, okay, all right. A motion to approve these resolutions, please.
Motion, Hayes. Kimberly. Oh.
Second.
Second, Schmidt.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Yeah. Mr. Alcazar?
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Francois?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Okay, the resolutions have been approved. The next item on the agenda is an additional resolutions. These would be individually motioned for each one. Resolution number 1207-2021-5. This is a resolution to offer employment to Gino Collada as a laborer in the maintenance department with a starting rate of $25.32 per hour, effective December 6th, 2021. May I have a motion, please?
Motion, Schmidt.
Second, Hayes.
Motions and seconded. This is just an all in favor, say aye. No, is it roll call? Roll call. Okay, all right.
Mr. Alcazar?
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Francois?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
All right, motion, the resolution passes. The next one is a resolution number 1207-2021-6, resolution authorizing the annual schedule of board meetings for 2022. May I have a motion, please?
Motion Ford.
Second.
Second Francois.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next is resolution number 1207-2021-7, a resolution authorizing the authority to execute an agreement with CME Associates Incorporated to provide professional engineering services for the replacement of the exterior windows and doors at the authority's administration building and garage offices. May I have a motion, please?
Motion, please.
Second.
Second, Ford.
Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes. The next resolution is number 1103-2021-8, a resolution of Franklin Township Sewerage Authority authorizing the purchase of electricity supply services for public use on an online auction website. May I have a motion?
Motion, Ford. Second,
A second?
Francois.
Thank you. Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. That's all the resolutions we have for today.
Commissioner Ann
next item-
Berenson, may I interrupt you for one moment? There was
Yes.
an update to the working agenda, and there is a ninth resolution. You
Oh,
probably
okay.
did.
I don't have that on my email for some reason.
Okay. If you'd like, I can just read the resolution and then you can pull through with the motion.
Okay.
April, before you do that, could we just go back to the previous resolution?
Yes.
In the last paragraph, it says, now therefore be resolved that the insert title of the Franklin Township Sewerage Authority, does that need to be updated?
Which resolution are you looking at? What number?
Resolution 8. In the very last paragraph. I don't know if it's a big deal, but it just says insert title there, and I didn't know if that needed to be.
That would be the executive director. It would read that now therefore be it resolved that the executive director of the Franklin Township Sewage Authority is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the Franklin Township Sewage Authority any electricity contract preferred by the participating supplier that submits the winning bid in the EMAX reverse auction. That would be the executive director. So I will make sure that we include that in there. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Good eyes, Commissioner.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and read the ninth resolution.
Okay. The ninth resolution, which is resolution number 1207-2021-9, resolution authorizing the executive director to execute a contract to purchase real property known as 18 Brookline Avenue, Block 184, Lots 6 through 7, on behalf of the Franklin Township Sewerage Authority.
Yeah, this is the one that the executive director told us about.
Yes.
Is there a motion? To approve the purchase?
Motion to approve, Francois.
Second?
Second, Schmidt.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Berenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Motion carries. I think that's the end of all the resolutions. The next item on the agenda is a motion to open executive session if applicable. I understand the executive director would like to ask for a executive session. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm asking for executive session for client, attorney-client matters. Before we do that, Councilman, I didn't mention, I meant to during my report, is that we did renew our leases for our copier and our postage meter. Just wanted to put that out there as a matter of record.
Does that require a resolution, or is it just a matter of, okay. All right.
They're both renewed under state contract. They're all under state approved government contracting.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Thank you for that. All right. So there's no other agenda item after this. So when we complete the executive session,
no action
we will
taken.
just adjourn after that. We are not going to come back to the
Right.
general.
There'll be no action taken. The first portion of the executive session, I'd like to ask Scott Nocero and Mike McClellan to join us, and then we could dismiss them for another matter.
Okay. Attorney, I guess we have to have a motion to get into the executive session.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second. Thanks, Rob.
The motion was made by Commissioner Schmidt and the second was Commissioner Francois?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. I have us going into executive session at 7:46 p.m.
Do we do a roll call for that, or?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Alcazar?
Yes.
Mr. Ambaranson?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Ms. Francois?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Okay. 7:46.
Okay.
I'm going to stop recording.
All right.